My name's Diana Fairclough.
I'm Ben Anthony. We farm Row End Farm, Logging, Whitland. We took over in 2010 from Diana's parents who retired. We run 500 ewes, we lamb 130 ewe lambs, and we've got 40 suckler cows, and we rear the calves and sell them as weaned stores. We're a demonstration farm for Farming Connect. We began in July this year. Today's event is on sheep nutrition with Leslie Stubbins. We're trying to embrace all new technologies, EID and fetal egg counting to base decisions on. We're looking at high index performance recorded rams. Also we're buying Aberfield cross ewe lambs in to try and improve our genetics of the flock.
I'm Leslie Stubbings, I'm an independent sheep consultant, and I've been involved with Ben and Diana on this farm now for coming up for a year probably, since they started as a monitor farm. So what we did originally for them was to have a look at some of the strengths and weaknesses and try and set up some priorities to see if we could help them improve their output. So they haven't been taken over that long, so it's quite a new venture for them. And really the two things that we're going to concentrate on this afternoon are one was the lamb losses. I suppose that's the main thing, is that you know, they were experiencing relatively high lamb losses, not high by a lot of people's standards, but higher than they would ideally like them to be. And coming back from that a little bit, they'd like to have got their scanning percentage up a little bit. So I think the scanning thing they've got on top of now. Their scanning was better last year, and this year would be more or less on a par with that as well. So we've really got to get down to the lamb losses thing now. And that really breaks down into two areas. One was what they found when they looked last year was that there was some infectious abortion in the flock. So to try and get rid of that problem, we recommended that they vaccinate their replacements, which they've done. And then we've just been discussing now, we think they're probably going to go in with some antibiotic at about 120 days of pregnancy to try and avoid the older ewes in the flock aborting again. So hopefully that one's out of the way, we've dealt with that, and they won't see much in the way of abortion this time. So we then go on to the second part of it, and that is feeding. So like a lot of people, Ben and Diana are feeding big bale silage. When I came out last summer, they were getting their silage analysed, which is a step forward, but what they weren't doing was then using that analysis to help them put their diet together. So when I had a look at the 2012 silages, it became apparent that by doing that, what they were doing was keeping the ewes short of protein. They were feeding plenty of concentrate, more than they needed to, but it was still not enough on the protein side. So this year we've got the analyses, and we've actually worked really hard to get the right concentrate for them. Very, very high quality concentrate. We're going to be feeding less of it, but it will actually deliver the protein that they need. Protein and supplying enough protein is becoming apparent. It's more and more important over time, and even the standards that people like me and nutritionists work to, we are questioning those, and we're increasing 10, 15, some cases 20% over and above those relatively old standards now. They're nearly 30 years old now, those standards, because we believe that for quality colostrum, really good milk yields, and immunity generally being passed on to the lamb, then we need to give the ewe extra protein. Now, the other thing that Ben's got here is he's got some swedes to feed, which I think is quite a common thing for people to have some forage crop to feed. But the thing people have got to remember about swedes, turnips, fodder beet, whatever it is that they're not a forage, they're a wet cereal. So what you're really looking at is something in the region of 7 kilos of swede dry matter being the same as a kilo of cereals. And so they're really just replacing energy. They've got low protein, but they are high in energy. They're as high as any cake would be, but you need to balance that up properly with the right protein. So at the moment, what's happening with these pre-lambing is that they are getting swedes and they're getting silage. So they're getting the protein at the moment out of the silage, and that will take them up to the point of housing. Post-lambing, if Ben wanted to, and I think for practical reasons because of the troughs he won't, but I did look at a diet for him, he could feed swedes, silage and just a couple of 100 grams of soya a day to his ewes in lactation, and they would milk absolutely top form for twins. So they're a very potent source of energy, but people have to balance them up with a really good source of protein as well, and some fibre.